This YouTube video was produced with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Specifically, the visuals were generated using ChatGPT, the script was composed using Claude AI, and the narration was synthesized using Edge-TTS. Anticipate. Definition: to expect or predict that something will happen and prepare for it in advance, to look forward to something or act before it occurs. Collocation: anticipate a problem, anticipate demand, widely anticipated, anticipate changes, anticipate the outcome. Synonym: expect, foresee, predict, prepare for. Example: the logistics team anticipated a surge in demand and increased warehouse stock levels well before the holiday season. Market analysts widely anticipated the central bank's decision to raise interest rates in response to rising inflation. Successful project managers anticipate potential risks and develop contingency plans before problems actually arise. Formulate. Definition: to create or develop something carefully and systematically, such as a plan, strategy, idea, or theory, through deliberate thought. Collocation: formulate a plan, formulate a strategy, formulate a policy, formulate a response, formulate a theory. Synonym: develop, devise, create, design. Example: the committee spent several months formulating a comprehensive strategy to address the declining enrollment rates. Scientists formulated a new theory that could explain the unexpected results observed during the clinical trials. The government is currently formulating policies aimed at reducing youth unemployment in economically disadvantaged regions. Distinguish. Definition: to recognize or identify the differences between two or more things, to make something stand out as unique or exceptional. Collocation: distinguish between, distinguish from, distinguish oneself, clearly distinguish, difficult to distinguish. Synonym: differentiate, separate, tell apart, discern. Example: it is essential to distinguish between correlation and causation when interpreting the results of statistical research. The ability to distinguish reliable sources from misleading ones is a critical skill in the age of digital information. She distinguished herself as a leading authority in the field through decades of rigorous academic scholarship. Corruption. Definition: dishonest or illegal behavior by people in positions of power, typically involving bribery, fraud, or the abuse of public trust for personal gain. Collocation: political corruption, fight corruption, corruption scandal, widespread corruption, corruption charges. Synonym: dishonesty, fraud, bribery, misconduct. Example: the government launched a large-scale campaign to fight corruption at every level of the public administration. A major corruption scandal forced several high-ranking officials to resign from their positions in disgrace. Widespread corruption within the institution eroded public trust and undermined the effectiveness of essential services. Terminate. Definition: to bring something to an end or cause it to stop, to formally conclude or cancel an agreement, contract, or process. Collocation: terminate a contract, terminate employment, terminate an agreement, terminate a project, immediately terminate. Synonym: end, conclude, cancel, discontinue. Example: the company reserves the right to terminate the contract if either party fails to meet the agreed-upon obligations. Management decided to terminate the underperforming project and redirect resources toward more promising initiatives. Employees whose conduct violates the code of ethics may have their employment terminated with immediate effect. Admiration. Definition: a feeling of deep respect, approval, and warm appreciation for someone or something regarded as impressive or excellent. Collocation: express admiration, deep admiration, admiration for, mutual admiration, win admiration. Synonym: respect, appreciation, esteem, regard. Example: her tireless dedication to humanitarian work earned her the deep admiration of colleagues and communities alike. The architect's innovative design won widespread admiration from both industry professionals and the general public. He expressed sincere admiration for the team's ability to deliver outstanding results under extremely tight deadlines. Pitfall. Definition: an unexpected danger, difficulty, or disadvantage that is not immediately obvious, a hidden trap or risk associated with a particular course of action. Collocation: potential pitfall, common pitfall, avoid pitfalls, pitfall of, major pitfall. Synonym: trap, hazard, risk, danger. Example: one common pitfall for new entrepreneurs is underestimating the amount of capital required during the first year of operation. The guidebook highlights potential pitfalls that investors should be aware of when entering volatile emerging markets. Failing to conduct thorough research before launching a product is a major pitfall that many companies unfortunately repeat. Radiation. Definition: the emission or transmission of energy in the form of waves or particles, including heat, light, and electromagnetic waves, also refers to the harmful energy released by radioactive materials. Collocation: radiation exposure, radiation therapy, solar radiation, radiation levels, harmful radiation. Synonym: emission, rays, energy, radioactivity. Example: prolonged radiation exposure without adequate protective equipment can pose serious long-term health risks to workers. Radiation therapy remains one of the most widely used treatment options for patients diagnosed with certain types of cancer. Scientists measured increased levels of solar radiation in the region, prompting further studies on its environmental impact. Minimum. Definition: the least or smallest amount, quantity, or degree that is possible, permitted, or required, the lowest acceptable standard or level. Collocation: minimum wage, minimum requirement, bare minimum, minimum standard, at a minimum. Synonym: lowest, least, smallest, baseline. Example: the government announced an increase in the national minimum wage to keep pace with the rising cost of living. Applicants must meet the minimum requirements outlined in the job description to be considered for the position. At a minimum, every employee should receive adequate training on workplace safety procedures before beginning their duties. Skeptical. Definition: having or expressing doubts or reservations about something, not easily convinced and inclined to question claims or assumptions. Collocation: remain skeptical, highly skeptical, skeptical about, skeptical of, increasingly skeptical. Synonym: doubtful, questioning, unconvinced, suspicious. Example: many industry analysts remain skeptical about the company's ability to meet its ambitious revenue targets this year. The public has become increasingly skeptical of advertising claims that lack transparent supporting evidence. While some experts praise the new approach, others were highly skeptical of its long-term sustainability and effectiveness. Prerogative. Definition: an exclusive right or privilege belonging to a particular person, group, or institution by virtue of their rank, position, or nature. Collocation: royal prerogative, personal prerogative, exercise of prerogative, management prerogative, prerogative of. Synonym: right, privilege, entitlement, authority. Example: setting the strategic direction of the company is the prerogative of the board of directors and senior leadership. It is every citizen's prerogative to express their opinions freely within the boundaries established by law. The decision to accept or decline the offer is entirely your personal prerogative, and no one should pressure you otherwise. Note. Definition: to pay attention to or take notice of something, to mention or remark upon something of importance, also refers to a brief written record or comment. Collocation: take note, note that, worth noting, note of caution, note with concern. Synonym: observe, remark, mention, record. Example: the report noted that economic inequality had widened significantly over the course of the previous decade. It is worth noting that the study's findings are based on a relatively small sample size and may not be fully representative. International observers noted with concern the increasing restrictions on press freedom in several member states. Implication. Definition: a possible consequence or effect of an action, decision, or situation, something that is suggested or indirectly indicated without being explicitly stated. Collocation, far-reaching implications, implications for, legal implications, practical implications, implications of a decision. Synonym, consequence, effect, significance, suggestion. Example, the new regulation has far-reaching implications for how financial institutions manage customer data and privacy. Researchers are still evaluating the practical implications of the discovery for the future of renewable energy technology. The implication of the CEO's statement was that further workforce reductions could not be entirely ruled out. Rigid. Definition: unable to bend or be forced out of shape, strictly fixed and not flexible or adaptable, unwilling to change opinions, rules, or methods. Collocation: rigid structure, rigid rules, rigid approach, rigid framework, overly rigid. Synonym: inflexible, stiff, strict, unyielding. Example, an overly rigid management style can stifle creativity and discourage employees from proposing innovative solutions. The company's rigid adherence to outdated procedures prevented it from adapting quickly to changing market conditions. Critics argued that the rigid framework of the policy left no room for addressing the unique needs of individual communities. Income. Definition: money received on a regular basis from employment, investments, business activities, or other sources, the total earnings of an individual or organization. Collocation: household income, income level, disposable income, income inequality, source of income. Synonym: earnings, revenue, salary, wages. Example, rising income inequality has become one of the most debated socio-economic issues in both developed and developing nations. The government introduced new tax policies aimed at supporting families with below-average household income levels. Freelance consulting has become her primary source of income since she left her full-time corporate position. Partisan. Definition: showing strong and sometimes unreasonable support for a particular political party, cause, or person, biased and one-sided in judgment. Collocation: partisan politics, partisan divide, partisan interests, partisan debate, deeply partisan. Synonym: biased, one-sided, factional, prejudiced. Example, the deeply partisan nature of the debate made it nearly impossible for legislators to reach a meaningful compromise. Critics accused the media outlet of producing partisan coverage that favored one political group over another. Effective governance requires leaders to set aside partisan interests and work collaboratively for the benefit of all citizens. Inadvertent. Definition: not resulting from or achieved through deliberate planning or intention, happening by accident or oversight. Collocation: inadvertent error, inadvertent disclosure, inadvertent consequence, inadvertent mistake, inadvertent omission. Synonym: unintentional, accidental, unplanned, unintended. Example, the data breach was the result of an inadvertent error made by an employee who sent sensitive files to the wrong recipient. An inadvertent omission in the contract led to a prolonged legal dispute between the two parties. The policy change had several inadvertent consequences that negatively affected small businesses in the surrounding area. Step. Definition: an action, measure, or stage taken as part of a process toward achieving a particular goal or outcome, also refers to the act of lifting and placing one's foot. Collocation: take steps, step forward, step by step, first step, necessary steps, step toward. Synonym: measure, action, move, stage. Example, the government announced that it would take immediate steps to strengthen cybersecurity across all federal agencies. Establishing a clear project timeline is an essential first step toward ensuring successful and timely completion. The peace agreement was widely regarded as a significant step forward in resolving the decades-long territorial dispute. Combine. Definition: to join or merge two or more things together to form a single entity or to produce a particular effect or result. Collocation, combine efforts, combine resources, combine with, combine elements, combine knowledge. Synonym: merge, blend, integrate, unite. Example: the two organizations decided to combine their resources to fund a large-scale community development project. By combining traditional research methods with modern data analytics, the team achieved far more comprehensive results. The chef skillfully combined local ingredients with international cooking techniques to create an entirely original menu. Aristocratic. Definition: relating to or characteristic of the aristocracy, the highest social class traditionally distinguished by noble birth, wealth, and privilege, having an air of refined elegance. Collocation: aristocratic family, aristocratic society, aristocratic tradition, aristocratic heritage, aristocratic class. Synonym: noble, upper class, elite, distinguished. Example: the historic estate has been owned by the same aristocratic family for more than 3 centuries. The novel offers a vivid portrayal of aristocratic society in 19th century Europe and its complex social hierarchies. Despite her aristocratic heritage, she devoted her life to charitable work and advocating for the rights of marginalized communities.